Hello there. Welcome to Ode to a Mockingbird, a sleep podcast where we read classic poetry. Tonight, we're going to read some Robert Frost. Into My Own. One of my wishes is that those dark trees, so old and firm they scarcely show the breeze, were not, as 'twere, the merest mask of gloom, but stretched away unto the edge of doom. I should not be withheld, but that some day into their vastness I should steal away, fearless of ever finding open land, or highway where the slow wheel pours the sand. I do not see why I should e'er turn back, or those should not set forth upon my track to overtake me, who should miss me here and long to know if still I held them dear. They would not find me changed from him they knew, only more sure of all I thought was true. Ghost House. I dwell in a lonely house, I know, that vanished many a summer ago, and left no trace but the cellar walls, and a cellar in which the daylight falls, and the purple-stemmed wild raspberries grow. O'er ruined fences, the grapevine shield, the woods come back to the mowing field. The orchard tree has grown one copse of new wood and old, where the woodpecker chops, the footpath down to the well is healed. I dwell with a strangely aching heart in that vanished abode, there far apart on that disused and forgotten road that has no dust bath now for the toad. Night comes, the black bats tumble and dart, the whippoorwill is coming to shout and hush and cluck and flutter about. I hear him begin far enough away, full many a time to say his say, before he arrives to say it out. It is under the small, dim summer star. I know not who these mute folk are, who share the unlit place with me. Those stones out under the low-limbed tree doubtless bear names that the mosses mar. They are tireless folk, but slow and sad, though too close keeping are lass and lad, with none among them that ever sings, and yet in view of how many things as sweet companions as might be had. My November Guest. My sorrow, when she's here with me, thinks these dark days of autumn rain are beautiful as days can be. She loves the bare, the withered tree. She walks the sodden pasture lane. Her pleasure will not let me stay. She talks, and I am fain to list. She's glad the birds are gone away. She's glad her simple worsted gray is silver now with clinging mist. The desolate, deserted trees, the faded earth, the heavy sky, the beauties she so truly sees, she thinks I have no eye for these, and vexes me for reason why. Not yesterday I learned to know the love of bare November days before the coming of the snow, but it were vain to tell her so, and they are better for her praise. Love and a Question. A stranger came to the door at eve, and he spoke the bridegroom fair. He bore a green He bore a green-white stick in his hand, and for all burden, care. He asked with the eyes, more than the lips, for a shelter for the night, and he turned and looked at the road afar, without a window light. The bridegroom came forth into the porch with, "Let us look at the sky and question what of the night to be, stranger, you and I." The woodbine leaves littered the yard. The woodbine berries were blue. Autumn, yes, winter was in the wind. Stranger, I wish I knew. Within, the bride in the dusk alone bent over the open fire, her face rose-red with the glowing coal and the thought of the heart's desire. The bridegroom looked at the weary road, yet saw but her within, and wished her heart in a case of gold, enpinned with a silver pin. The bridegroom thought it little to give a dole of bread, a purse, a heartfelt prayer for the poor of God, or for the rich a curse. But whether or not a man was asked to mar the love of two by harboring woe in the bridal house, the bridegroom wished he knew. A late walk. When I go up through the mowing field, the headless aftermath, smooth laid like thatch with the heavy dew, half closes the garden path. And when I come to the garden ground, the whir of sober birds up from the tangle of withered weeds is sadder than any words. A tree behind the wall stands bare, and a leaf that lingered brown, disturbed, I doubt not, by my thought, comes softly rattling down. I end not far from my going forth by picking the faded blue of the last remaining aster flower to carry again to you. Stars. How countlessly they congregate o'er our tumultuous snow, which flows in shapes as tall as trees when wintry winds do blow. As if with keenness for our fate, our faltering few steps on to white rest and a place of rest, invisible at dawn. And yet with neither love nor hate, those stars like some snow white Minerva's snow-white marble eyes, without the gift of sight. Storm fear. When the wind works against us in the dark and pelts with snow the lower chamber window on the east, and whispers with a sort of stifled bark, the beast, "Come, come out, come out." It cost no inward struggle not to go. Ah, no. I count our inner strength, two and a child, those of us not asleep, subdued to mark how the cold creeps as the fire dies at length, how drifts are piled, dooryard and road ungraded, till even the comforting barn grows far away, and my heart owns a doubt whether 'tis in us to rise with day and save ourselves unaided. Wind and window flower. Lovers, forget your love, and list to the love of these, she a window flower, and he a winter breeze. When the frosty wind veil was melted down at noon, and the caged yellow bird hung over her in tune, he marked her through the pane. He could not help but mark, and only passed her by to come again at dark. He was a winter wind, concerned with ice and snow, dead weeds and unmated birds, and little of love could know. But he sighed upon the sill, he gave the sash a shake, as witnessed all within who lay that night awake. Perchance he half prevailed to win her for the flight from the fire-lit looking-glass and warm stove window light. But the flower leaned aside and thought of naught to say, and morning found the breeze 100 miles away. To the thawing wind. Come with rain, O loud southwester. Bring the singer, bring the nester. Give the buried flower a dream. Make the settled snowbank steam. Find the brown beneath the white. But whate'er you do tonight, bathe my window, make it flow. Melt it as the ice will go. Melt the glass and leave the sticks like a hermit's crucifix. Burst into my narrow stall. Swing the picture on the wall. Run the rattling pages o'er. Scatter poems on the floor. Turn the poet out of door. A prayer in spring. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away as the uncertain harvest. Keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night, and make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees, and make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrusts in with needle bill, and off a blossom in mid-air stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. Flower gathering. I left you in the morning, and in the morning glow you walked away beside me to make me sad to go. Do you know me in the gloaming, gaunt and dusty gray with roaming? Are you dumb because you know me not, or dumb because you know? All for me, and not a question for the faded flowers gay that could take me from beside you for the ages of a day. They are yours, and be the measure of their worth for you to treasure, the measure of the little while that I've been long away. Rose Begonias. A saturated meadow, sun-shaped and jewel-small, a circle scarcely wider than the trees around were tall, where winds were quite excluded, and the air was stifling sweet with the breath of many flowers, a temple of the heat. There we bowed us in the burning, as the sun's right worship is, to pick where none could miss them, 1,000 orchises. For though the grass was scattered, yet every second spear seemed tipped with the wings of color that tinged the atmosphere. We raised a simple prayer before we left the spot, that in the general mowing that place might be forgot, or, if not all so favored, obtain such grace of ours that none should mow the grass there while so confused with flowers.